Hey everyone, and welcome back to the video editing mini-series on Duel 95. This is volume 2, hardware. If we have a look here, there's a 4K monitor here. It's a LG Ultra HD TV basically. And then we've got my Dell, I think it's UH2413. It's a monitor, about a 16:10 ratio. It was color calibrated from the factory, so it was quite accurate in the color representation for the sRGB range. And I've got my Shure Super 55 microphone. That's particularly important for voiceovers. There's the Focusrite Scarlett 2i4 Mark II, which that plugs into. Then I've got my AKG K612 Pro reference quality studio headphones. They're open backed, so it actually sounds quite natural as well. So I use that to pretty much listen to the recordings back and make sure all the levels are correct. And we've also got these two lamps. They're just from Costco, but they provide quite natural lighting. So as you can see here, there's the 12 cameras from the last video editing video. So it does switch between all of these different angles. So we've got the main camera, B-roll camera. So the main camera up here is actually the Logitech C920, and then we've got a B-roll camera from long ago. This is the Logitech 905, and of course I plugged in my MacBook Pro as well, which is not currently on the desk, which I connected that via VGA. Now there is a VGA converter just under there, which converts it to HDMI. So I've got the Sega Dreamcast here with some 3D prints on top of it. It's a bit separated from the other game consoles, but it was just the best place for it. And to switch between the game consoles, they all use composite video, basically. So down here, I've got a composite video switcher, which allows me to easily change the stream between each console. Typically there's only one console recording at once, with the exception of the GameCube actually having two outputs. Then we've got the desktop computer, or the workstation, which you kind of need to do the actual editing. So this one, let's just bring it out here for a second. So this desktop, by today's standards, is a little dated. It's actually got an Intel i7 or Intel Core i7 2700K overclocked to 4.4 GHz, which is quite helpful when I'm doing rendering and stuff. And it's also got a GTX 970GB G1 gaming graphics card, which helped me a lot in the last week's actual encoding of the stream itself, because I had to send 4 cameras at once in a 4K 60fps stream to actually get the footage for the 12 cameras. And it's got lots of storage, but I don't really need to use the local storage that much anymore. It's only got SATA SSDs, and it's got 2 video capture cards. It has the AVerMedia C027 Dark Crystal HD capture card for the HDMI and component video and composite. And then I've also got a WinFast DVR 3100H, I believe, for analog capture, which actually does support the lower resolutions for RGB and stuff. And of course, when I'm not using a wired network, I've got this ASUS PCE AC68 Wi-Fi adapter, which is pretty good. It gets me around 300 megabits over 802.11ac. But I've also got a fiber box at the moment, which you can see the cable here, but that's connected to my fiber network, because you need a lot of bandwidth and throughput to actually do uncompressed footage over the network. So that's the basic specifications. It's also got 24 gigs of RAM in the PC and a Blu-ray drive. So yeah, that's basically the main setup up here. I'll show you the rendering servers and RTMP server. It's actually running on that same server downstairs. So we'll have a quick look at that now. So we're currently here in the server room. This is the main production server, the HP DL360 Gen 7. And then underneath that is a HP DL380 Gen 7, which actually I turn on manually to do the rendering. Both servers actually have the same specification, but I allocate a single virtual machine to do the rendering, which gives me the entire 24 threads and 140 gigabytes of RAM to actually process the video. It actually does help me out quite a bit for 4K 60 FPS footage, because it renders at 10 frames per second faster than my desktop workstation upstairs. And of course there's a 10 gigabit networking connecting all the servers and some of the workstations down here. And then they go out through this firewall to the internet. This is one of the rendering workstations as well, because the HP servers aren't very good at encoding the Premiere Pro footage, but they are good at encoding using FFmpeg. So these ones do Premiere Pro footage rendering, and so does this workstation here. And I can also do pretty much basic edits on this one as well. Well, just as good as the one upstairs, only that this one's using an i5 processor, and so is this one. So that's the only real downside with these. But then they've still got at least 3.5 gigahertz processors, so they have better single core performance than the HP server does. So yeah, let's head back upstairs. So yeah, that's a fairly brief overview of the general hardware I use for video editing. There is a bit more stuff I could show you potentially for the video broadcasting and audio production, but that's a little bit out of scope for this video. There potentially may be another video in this mini-series, just focusing on some key aspects possibly, maybe show you some stuff that goes on with the servers. But yeah, I was kind of hoping to make this one a bit shorter than the last one, which was about like 33 minutes. Edited down, it was a bit of a pain to close caption, but I got it done in the end, so that's pretty good then. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and see you next time. Goodbye.